Hello, YouTube. How's it going? I just realized I never checked to make sure my audio was connected to the right settings or whatever. So I should do that. I should have done that before clicking live, but I clicked live and then went, shit, am I connected to the right things? Thankfully, I am. So, what did you guys do this weekend? We went to the movies, we went out for dinner with a gift card. I did personal training today. What else? I sat outside. It was a pretty chill day today. Yesterday was definitely a bit more busy, but it was overall really good weekend. It's nice and sunny out. There's not a cloud in the sky. So yeah, it's a lovely day, lovely weekend. A little bit hot in here though. So I do have a fan running. Oh, Lori can't be here today. That's okay. Hi, Mr. Ranger Lab. Okay. I was like, I never checked. I never checked which thingy I'm connected to, and I should have done that. Hey, Charlie, it's nice to see you. Today I'm excited to do a video on something called pig butchering scams. Now, if you've seen my other scam videos on this channel, you will think that this sounds very similar to our romance scam video that we did months ago, and it is kind of an offshoot of romance scams and investment scams, but it's a little bit different. They'll tell us, but the pig butchering is related to. No, we'll just read it. How about that? We'll just read it because I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna butcher the definition of pig butchering scam. It's my birthday on Thursday, so my friends took me to a brew pub on Saturday night, then had a wonderful lunch with another friend. Oh, that's amazing. I'm happy to hear you had a good weekend. And Tori's here. Hey, Tori. Looking at my bangs, and they're looking a little crazy. They just don't look even. I'm trying really hard to embrace my wavy natural bangs, and it's okay if they're not exactly the same length all the time because sometimes one side gets really curly and frizzy and the other side doesn't, and that's okay. I'm trying to not straighten my bangs constantly. Hi, coconuts. It's lovely to see you. So we're going to first learn about the warning signs of pig butchering scams. An online scam that uses fake personas to trick victims into fraudulent investments. Yeah, and I should have said happy belated birthday. Sorry about that. Sounds like you had an awesome birthday. Yay, so many friends. And I love going out for dinner. That's one of my favorite things to do. It's so fun. I should know what a pig butchering scam is. I heard it defined before, but for some reason I can never remember. Fair. Okay, ready? A pig butchering scam, also known as a Shazupan scam, is a type of online investment fraud that involves scammers creating fake online personas to lure victims into fraudulent investment schemes. The term pig butchering comes from the scammer's practice of fattening up their victims by building trust over time before slaughtering them and stealing their money. These scams, which often originate overseas and involve cryptocurrency investments, have become a global problem with several billions of dollars in reported losses worldwide. So it's very similar to romance scams, although with pig butchering, it seems to be specifically related to cryptocurrency investment scams. And they're going to tell us some of the tactics in this article and the others, but it's very similar. You'll have someone who's really nice and friendly to you that you've never talked to before connect with you over the phone. They might pretend that they send a wrong sent their message to the wrong number, and you're like, oh, they're so nice, and then you forge a friendship with them, and they're using that friendship to scam you out of your money. Pig butchering scams use fake online personas to trick victims into fraudulent investments. Scammers gain trust, manipulate emotions, and exploit financial vulnerabilities to steal money. Spotting signs like unsolicited messages and verifying information can help avoid scams. And then obviously report the crime to your bank and law enforcement. By the way, have I talked to you about this cryptocurrency investment? Mr. Rangelab, for a second, I was like, wait, are they saying that you've like I thought you were saying that you have talked to me about this cryptocurrency investment before, and I was like, "Oh, did they? Did they?" But I see what you mean. The little S at the end saved me, and I get it. That's funny. Pig butchering scams are sophisticated and often follow a well-orchestrated process to deceive victims and steal their money. They usually follow a similar pattern, creating a fake persona. Scammers create phony online identities, often posing as successful investors or attractive singles. On dating apps, sorry. These fake identities are carefully crafted to appeal to potential victims' interests and vulnerabilities, and will use stolen or artificial intelligence generated photos and fabricated backstories to make their personas seem credible and trustworthy. Scammers will initiate contact via dating apps, social media, or even random phone calls and texts. They may use scripts and pre-written messages to initiate conversations and engage the victim's receptiveness. They will often cast a wide net, contacting numerous potential victims in hopes of finding those most likely to fall for their tactics. And I've received so many texts where someone will say, "Hey, I'm going to send you the money tomorrow night." And the first time I got this, I did write back and I said, "Hey, wrong number." They wrote back saying, "Oh, how interesting. This is the number that the person gave me. Here, just click on this link, take a screenshot of the money that's in your account, and you can just keep the money." And then I was like, "No, that's sketchy. Who are you?" And I think after learning about this, that could have been an example of a pig butchering scam potentially. And then I kept getting those messages over and over again. "Hey, I'll send you the money tomorrow." Or, "Hey, are we meeting for lunch tomorrow?" I get a lot of those too. And if it's from someone you don't know, just delete and block the number, just to be safe. Coconut says someone named Ryan has been using my number for over 8 years. So I get a lot of calls or text ads for Ryan. I've gotten creative on getting the calls to stop. Ryan has died many deaths over time. Oh no, that's so annoying. That sucks. Scammers spend weeks or months building a relationship with the victim, often feigning romantic interest. Sorry, my chin is too low. But then if I sit up straight, my head's like cut off because I have a different setup now, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't want my chin to be cut off, but I don't want my head to be cut off, you know? So I don't really know what to do. I'm not loving it, but I feel like it's good enough. They engage in frequent, friendly communication, showing interest in the victim's life and sharing personal stories. They may use mirroring techniques to match the victim's language, interests, and beliefs to create a sense of connection and familiarity. Scammers sometimes may even send small gifts or tokens of affection to gain the victim's trust and emotional investment. Very similar to the romance scams. And then how I understand the main difference is the way that the victims are scammed out of their money is through cryptocurrency investments, well, fake opportunities. The scammer steers the conversation towards investment, often involving cryptocurrency or alternative assets like foreign exchange. The turn is usually framed as an opportunity to build a future together or to achieve financial freedom, just like MLMs, right? Scammers present themselves as experienced investors who want to help the victim get started and succeed. They will share fabricated success stories or claim to have inside knowledge of lucrative investment opportunities. So the person is your friend or your romantic partner, and they're interested in you romantically, and they also are investment professionals. How interesting. They prompt deposits. Then an initial deposit is usually a small amount to lower the victim's guard. Scammers may even let the victim withdraw this initial deposit to further build trust and make the investment seem legitimate. And then you manipulate further investment. They use manipulated data and fake reports to show huge returns on investment. And just like Charlie just said, they have similar tactics. Like the I don't remember that I did 2 videos on deep fake cryptocurrency scams, and it was very similar. Just like Charlie's saying, they pretend to be interested in you. Maybe you think you're making a friend. You think that someone's interested in you romantically. They introduce investing or sending money to them to help them in some way. You think that you're working together with this person, you're helping the person, you're gaining really important financial knowledge, and then they leave, right? So, yeah, you're right. It's very, very similar. Just like Vanishing Act here, the scammers are extracted as much money as possible from their victim. They cut off all communication and disappear. The fraudulent investment website or app is taken offline, and the victim is left with no way to access their supposed investment or contact the scammer. And then this part I found interesting. Scammers may even use the information gained during the scam to commit identity theft or target the victim's friends or family. That's terrible. But yeah, it's very similar. So let's see the fake online persona, initiate contact, build some kind of relationship, romantic or friendship or otherwise. Then you talk about crypto. You encourage them to do a deposit, mostly a smaller investment at the beginning. And then you put pressure on them to do bigger investments, and then they disappear. And the person is stuck trying to figure out how to get their money back. All right, let's read real life examples and impact. Real life examples of pig butchering scams are growing in prevalence, blah, blah, blah. A 2022 study of 550 victims by the anti-scam organization GASO found that the average loss of American victims was over $210,000. The study also found that 77% drained their bank account, oh no, and 43% borrowed additional money from friends and family. While the losses are large, another study from TRM suggests the average loss could be much higher. And it's really hard to gauge the actual numbers and amounts lost for scams like this, because we've heard from victims of the romance scams on my channel that there's a significant amount of shame attached to it for a lot of these victims, because they feel like they may have been unintelligent to fall for something like this, or that it's their fault and they're embarrassed. So we've learned it's not the fault of the victims who fall prey to this, because the people are highly trained. They are very highly trained in manipulation, in targeting the vulnerabilities of individuals, and it's not your fault if you get targeted. Hey, Neil, how's it going? It's lovely to see you. Thank you for being here. Where's my mouse? Sorry. Hello. In terms of overall impacts, researchers from the University of Texas at Austin found that more than $75 billion was lost to pig butchering scams from 2020 to 2024, and they suggest that the true number could be even higher. Indeed, many victims do not report their losses to authorities. For instance, the Australian government reports just 13% of victims do, perhaps out of embarrassment or fear of reprisal. So here are some examples. A female Indian information technology professional working in Philadelphia fell victim to a sophisticated pig butchering scam that combined romance fraud with cryptocurrency investment. The scammer used deepfake videos and advanced scripting to gain trust and manipulate her emotions, ultimately convincing her to invest in fraudulent cryptocurrency platforms. As a result, she lost over $450,000 and was left with significant debt. So this is so sophisticated. It's not just people highly trained in the art of manipulation. There is a technological sophistication behind these scams too, where People use deepfake videos and scripting methods to manipulate the emotions of victims. And it just makes it hard to know what's real and what's not when you're on the internet, which is why we need to be extremely careful. She met a man who called himself Ansel on the dating app Hinge. He claimed to be a French wine trader. Their conversation quickly moved to WhatsApp, where Ansel deleted his Hinge profile, giving the impression that he wanted to focus solely on her. The scammer skillfully exploited the victim's vulnerability, particularly her recent divorce, to gain her trust and make her more susceptible to the scam. And we also heard in our other videos similar to this scam where they'll meet on a specific website and then they'll move it to another website. They move the conversation to another website that is a little bit harder to track, right? Because I was thinking of Snapchat. Snapchat disappears. I don't really know how WhatsApp works, but we find that the conversations are moved off of the official websites, if that makes sense. So a nurse working in Singapore fell victim to a big pig butchering scam that left her with total debt in excess of $270,000. Feeling lonely due to COVID-19 travel restrictions, she sought companionship online and met a man claiming to be a 34-year-old interior designer from Shanghai living in Vancouver. They developed a friendship, and he eventually convinced her to invest in a fraudulent platform. And this is also sad, where if you're going through something in your life, like a worldwide pandemic, or say a divorce, like the other case, or some mental health challenges, and someone preys on that, of course you're even more vulnerable to falling victim to a scam like this, and it can just ruin your life, like in this example here. She was convinced to invest increasing amounts of money funded by bank loans, selling her car. Oh my God. This ruins people's lives. Borrowing from friends and family, even taking out a mortgage on her house in Malaysia. When her father warned her about investment scams, she realized she had been duped and tried to withdraw her funds, but the scammer demanded an additional $240,000 for safety purposes. She took up part-time jobs to pay back as much as possible, but was left with only $250 a month for expenses after loan repayments and rent. She eventually started bankruptcy proceedings, and she contemplated unaliving herself. So her entire life was ruined, her finances ruined, her mental health ruined. She was being targeted during the time that everyone was vulnerable in the entire world. No one was completely unscathed by the COVID-19 pandemic, and then her life was just ruined afterwards. This ruins people's lives. I know we all know that. It just makes me sad. It makes me sad. So we're going to read one more example. I think there's just this example. Yeah. A 52-year-old man from the San Francisco Bay Area fell victim to a sophisticated pig butchering scam orchestrated by a scammer posing as Jessica on WhatsApp. Jessica built trust by discussing personal stories and showing a keen interest in his life, then introduced the idea of investing in a cryptocurrency through a trading app called MetaTrader. Convinced by the potential gains shown in the simulated trades, the victim began investing his own money, gradually increasing his investments as Jessica manipulated his emotions relating to care of his ailing father and pressured him to take advantage of insider information in upcoming big markets. Despite the red flags, he continued to trust Jessica, liquidating his assets, borrowing money, and even taking out a home equity line of credit to invest over $1 million. The app was manipulated to show fictitious profits, and all of his money was stolen. And he also ended up in a psych ward. He filed a police report. Local authorities told him they lacked the resources to effectively investigate the stolen funds, and the U.S. Secret Service's ongoing investigation faces challenges as the perpetrators are likely overseas. So, again, this poor man, manipulated by someone online that he thinks is his friend, invested $1 million in this fake app, is really just preying on people's need for human connection, for feeling like someone cares about them, like someone sees them, understands them, and also like need for taking care of his family because his father's sick and that costs money. I think he's in the US. Healthcare is outrageous in the US. That costs a lot of money. He was in such a vulnerable situation. Yeah, now strained relationships, financial ruin, mounting debts, extreme mental health repercussions. The last two stories, they were both at the lowest point in their lives mentally. And we're going to go in and watch a quick video about how some of the people who do these scams are also victims themselves. So it's more complicated, in my opinion, than simply just saying, how dare you, right? Because we're going to learn about how the scammers can also be victims. It just makes me sad. That was not well said at all, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. I wonder, I'm gonna quickly Google that. How long does it, this might not lead to anything. Probably a while, right? It seems like it's a long game, long con. Earning the victim's trust can take several months depending on the commitment of the criminal. The pig butchering scammer usually creates, okay, so several months. I just quickly Googled it, and that was the first result. Several months is a long time, and you think you have a friend. What if you're lonely and the nice person that pretended to text you accidentally and said, "Oh, oops, wrong number." You think that person actually cares about you, but they don't. They're just trying to ruin your life. These scams make me sick to my stomach. It's so sad that people are scammed out of everything. Exactly. So, like Charlie said earlier, a lot of these are very similar. They have similar warning signs, similar tactics. We're not going to read every word of this because I don't know why it's purple there, because it's similar to the other scam videos we've done on this channel. Unsolicited contact, too good to be true investments, claims of guaranteed high returns with little or no risk. Obviously, that's a red flag. That's a red flag for the AI deepfake cryptocurrency scams. For any of the, I think those were the only two where we had those, because we did videos on phishing scams, crypto scams. I think this is the only other investment scam video we've done. Requests for personal information. Do not share any personal information with someone you do not know. Unregistered investment platforms. If someone says, "Hey, invest in this with me," Google it. Do your research. I love this piece of advice. Make sure they're actually registered. See if you can find a phone number so you can call them up and ask questions. If you have difficulty withdrawing your funds, inconsistent or vague details, promises of easy riches, persistent attempts to isolate you. In my other videos, similar videos to this, someone said, it might have been Monica, that if there's an investment opportunity, you can always talk to someone over the phone or in person. The person will never rush you. They will give you all the information that you need. They will not say it's easy riches, because I'm just going to fix my mic. Sorry if this is annoying. Not promises of easy riches, because when I signed up for an investment person through, was it my bank? I don't remember. They were like, "Hey, so I'll do the investment part for you, but you may not, like, depending on your level of risk, your desired level of risk, it may not grow that much and it may go down," right? Because if you have a high level of risk, you're okay with a lot of risk, it could go up a lot, but it also could plummet at any time, right? And the idea of, oh, just quickly invest and you'll easily make your money back, in my opinion, based on my limited to no financial knowledge, my limited to no investment knowledge, that is not possible. It's not possible. Sorry, my phone is bothering me. All right, and then avoid being butchered. Yeah, it's pretty much this stuff up here. Just keep an eye on red flags. If something feels sketchy to you, if you're worried, take your time and research things. Research that the investment site is actually a real platform. They should have contact information. There should be a customer service number. Just take your time. Just take your time. Don't let someone you don't know on the internet rush you into making a decision. Oh, I meant to share the next screen. Sorry. Pig butchering scams are just one aspect of investment scams, and we're going to quickly go through this site. It's from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center. In the scam videos we've done here, we've gone to this website quite a bit. So here's the part that I wanted to read. It's not as of June 1st, 2023, the Anti-Fraud Center is noticing an increase in romance/investment scams, which are often referred to as pig butchering. And yeah, the victim, we already learned this, but the victim will sometimes be able to withdraw a small amount in hopes that they'll be persuaded to invest even more of their money. The fraudster will do everything it takes to make you think the investment is lucrative and legitimate. An example of that, as we've seen, if you see fake fabricated success with your investments, not only is it a fake ass fucking platform, but they also make up successful investments, which is outrageous. It's so complicated. Cryptocurrency scams and fraud attempt to steal money, personal and financial information. They promise high returns in a short amount of time. Get your cryptocurrency from well-known and reputable exchanges. Purchase any hardware wallets directly from the manufacturer. Here's a little warning. Cryptocurrencies operate independently of a central bank and are currently unregulated in Canada. The Anti-Fraud Center warns that there isn't protection from fraud when using cryptocurrencies as there is when using a credit card. No government agency will ever request payment in the form of cryptocurrencies. I wanted to show this to show that as of June 2023, there is an increase in these types of scams in Canada, and there's very little protection for those who are victims of fraud in this space because it's not regulated by the government at all. So what am I trying to say? Law enforcement cannot do as much as they could with normal fraud, normal money fraud, as they can here. I did not say that well. They can't protect you as much as they can if it's fraud, financial fraud done not through cryptocurrency, but normal money. There you go. And I wanted to quickly look at other kinds of investment scams. This will be quick. Scammers offer fake fixed income opportunities while spoofing company names and often on offer higher than normal returns. These opportunities can include guaranteed investment certificates and bonds. How are we supposed to know it's fake? Probably if someone calls you up. Yeah, if someone calls you up and says, I have an investment opportunity for you, then that's probably a fake opportunity because I feel like you should be talking to a financial advisor for this, someone you can talk to on the phone, someone in person, or a bank. The pump and dump scam promotes an incredible deal on a low priced stock. The scammer owns a large amount of the stock. As more investors buy shares, the value skyrockets. Once the price hits a peak, the scammer sells their shares and the value of the stock plummets. Honestly, I don't understand pump and dump schemes. I did watch a lot of CoffeeZilla videos on these types of schemes, and it definitely went over my head. I'm not going to pretend to understand what those mean. I don't know. Let's Google that. That's a great question, Charlie. I never know how to spell crypto. Illegal currency. Despite its use for buying goods and services, there are still no uniform international laws that regulate Bitcoin. Many developed countries allow Bitcoin to be used, such as the United States, Canada, and the UK. In several countries, it is illegal to use Bitcoin. In Canada, they're not considered legal tender. So when individual businesses can while individual businesses can choose to accept cryptocurrency at their own risk, the relatively more formal CRA won't accept it as a form of payment for your taxes. However, everyone and anyone can legally purchase crypto. Was a really good question, Charlie. So at least in Canada, it's not considered a legal form of tender currency. I don't really know, but isn't that interesting? Ooh, Ponzi schemes. We all know what a Ponzi is. It's an investor buys into a scheme offering higher than normal returns. The scammer pays early investors with money from the new investors. We all know what that is. It's a pyramid scheme without the recruiting. The virtual currency market is constantly changing. Blah blah blah. In an initial coin offering scam, the scammer sends an email soliciting investment opportunities. They provide official-looking documentation, use buzzwords, and maybe even offer a real token. In the end, everything is fake, and you lose your investment. Recent franchise business opportunity scams include ATM investments, point-of-sale machines, cleaning businesses. There are so many investment scams, so many ways that people can steal our money from us. It is just outrageous. I wasn't planning on including this because it's not really related, but the amount of investment scams on this one page was very surprising. Isn't it funny? Pyramid schemes is on here. Gem scams involve high-pressure sales tactics to convince you to buy gems over the phone. The scammer insists the purchase is a sound financial investment because of the resale value of the gems. They ask you to wire money to an offshore bank account. A real gem arrives in the mail. In the reports we received on this scam, police say that once the victim has a portfolio of stones, they're told there's a buyer for their collection as long as they add a few more gems. Once the victim pays for additional stones, the deal falls through. The scammers often also tell victims not to open any of the clear, sealed plastic containers the gems come in, or they will cancel the deal. Victims who open the containers anyway and get the stones appraised discovered they were worth about 1/10 what they paid. I think the warning signs for all of these different investment scams are similar to what we already learned about. Promises of quick returns, someone who's using high pressure sales tactics to get you to purchase a gem or invest in a fake ATM machine, ATM business opportunity, someone who is encouraging you not to do research, not to take your time and consider everything before making a decision. Someone that you can't actually get potentially, like you can't research the business they claim to be from and find actual true contact information, because if it's actually a legitimate company, you should be able to find contact information, look at reviews of the company and like the address, because there should be some kind of central office. A pyramid scam focuses primarily on generating profits by recruiting other investors. A common pyramid scam today follows the form of a gifting circle. Participants gift a sum of money to join and ultimately must recruit others to make their money back. These schemes may offer products, but they usually have very little value. Pyramid selling is illegal in Canada. It's a criminal offense to establish, operate, advise, or promote a scheme of pyramid selling. So, according to this website, there's general investment scams, cryptocurrency, fixed income, the pump and dump, Ponzi, initial coin offerings, franchise/business opportunity, gem, and pyramid. And yeah, I already said some of these things to be aware of. Easy, higher than normal returns, high pressure sales tactics, fake cryptocurrency websites. It's so easy to say be aware of that because, like, how do you know what a real cryptocurrency website looks like? It's not that easy. In the charitable donation scams, we learned that scammers will make fake websites of real reputable charities, and instead of like Red Cross Society, it'll be a Society of the Red Cross, right? And so if you're not already aware of what that charity's logo looks like, you may not know that the Society of the Red Cross is not real, right? And so it's so sophisticated and complicated. And I think it's really easy to say, be aware of fake websites. Okay, but you need to tell me how to identify a fake cryptocurrency website. Now we're going to go to the next page. It's from CTV News, pig butchering, a global human trafficking scam. I'm going to have a drink. One sec. Yeah, Charlie, trust no one, literally. Trust no one. Unless it's like your mother or your spouse or your father, parents or spouse. Okay. I wanted to do this video because my husband sent me a John Oliver segment where he talks about pig butchering scams and how a lot of the people who are doing the scamming are actually victims themselves and are tricked into moving to another country, I think into Cambodia, oftentimes for what looks like a legitimate job opportunity, and then they are forced to learn how to scam people and they have no choice. So we're going to learn quickly about this. And it's another layer, right? Because as I said, it's easy to be upset at the people doing the scamming and ruining people's lives, but then they're often victims themselves, right? All right.
So you spot an online scam, let's say sent to your email. Have you ever wondered who is behind that keyboard sending that to you? Well, that email is sent to you by somebody who is being forced to send it, a victim themselves of human trafficking. We are joined from Hong Kong right now by Cesare Podkula, reporter for ProPublica, who first covered this story. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So give us a little bit of the background here. How do these traffickers lure their victims?
Yeah, it starts out with a fake job ad that these human trafficking victims come across, promising them a comfortable salary and good working conditions in a place like Cambodia, Laos, or Myanmar. And once they report for the job,
So it starts for the human trafficking victims. They see what looks like a legitimate job ad, most likely offering higher than normal wages. They think they're going to have a job that is secure, that is consistent, and they're going to be actually able to save money. And then once they arrive to the location, then they realize that it's not the case. So they're tricked. They're tricked with the promise of financial security.
they realize that it's nothing of the like. It may not be the marketing position or the sales job that they sign up for. Instead, they find themselves sitting in front of a computer looking at training materials on how to scam people online and how to contact them and try to get into conversations with them to woo them out of their life savings.
So are these victims flown to those countries?
Yeah, so they may fly. Sometimes I've heard of situations where they are smuggled in on boats. Sometimes they may arrive at a border city if they're told that they're reporting for a job somewhere inside China. And then when they get to that province, they're then smuggled across the border and find themselves trekking across Vietnam into Cambodia. So there's various routes, but they all end up in the same destination, which is some compound where they're forced to scam people.
So they go thinking, I already said this, but just imagine you go thinking you have a good job, and then you find yourself being smuggled across an international border by plane, by boat, by truck, whatever, and then you get to your country of your destination, and then you're forced to go to a compound. And I think I heard in the John Oliver segment that oftentimes like their passports are taken away, their money is taken away. So it's not as easy as simply just like leaving because they can't leave, right?
So this phrase I'd never heard before, pig butchering. I guess that's a scam referred to as that. What is that exactly?
Yeah, that's really the most popular scamming technique
We already know this part. I don't remember if he talks more about the trafficking part again.
that's originating from these scam compounds in Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar. And it gets its name from an analogy to just how a farmer will fatten up a hog before slaughtering it. These scammers are trying to fatten up their own payday by first starting a chat with their victim, winning their trust, and once they win their trust, then psychologically manipulating them to deposit larger and larger and larger amounts of their life savings into fake brokerages.
So we already know that part. I want to know more about the trafficking part because this is very general. I want to know more about the trafficking. Trafficked workers are given scripts and instructions and are unable to leave due to threats from traffickers. The complex psychological manipulation and physical control make it very difficult for victims to resist or escape the trafficking situation. Many endure these abuses out of fear with little chance to seek help or exit this exploitative work. I just want more details on the trafficking. Like, I want to know. There might not be that much on it, obviously. Okay, this looks like it's more detail. Sorry, while preparing, I thought this was good enough, and I'm like, no. I don't know what this organization is, though. Destiny Rescue? I'm not sure. Destiny Rescue. Let's see what that is. Destiny Rescue. What is Destiny Rescue? Exists to rescue kids from human trafficking and help them stay free. Okay. Take this with a grain of salt because I quickly Googled Destiny Rescue and there's some controversy, some pretty severe controversy, but I want more info on the life of the people who are actually committing the fraud. Haven't been here in a while. Love that you were talking about this. Oh, I worked in hospitality and it's crazy how prolific it is. Oh, happy you're here. Thank you for joining, and I'm happy that you enjoy this topic. So most of the residents, okay. Scammed into scamming. Facilities like this are popping up all over Asia. Funded by organized international crime groups, they employ tens of thousands of people forced to scam other victims all over the world. We know what that is. Most of the victims are young, college-educated men from neighboring countries. Lured by the promise of good money and a legitimate office, they are often brought across national borders, their passports taken upon arrival, leaving them powerless to escape. The time-tested trafficking tactics puts them at mercy of their employers. With no way to get home and the threat of arrest, if they attempt a solo crossing, the trafficked people become completely dependent on the traffickers. It's a dependency the traffickers reinforce through a strict, regimented schedule. The scammers are worked in shifts, every movement planned, every meal supplied by their captors. They have quotas to meet if they fail. Oh, I did not read this before. We don't need to go anymore. If they fail to meet their quotas, they are extreme horrible violence is committed against the victims, the human trafficking victims. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was going to go in that direction. I didn't plan for that, but wow. So according to this website, their passports are taken away. They don't have any money. They become completely dependent on the trafficker. They could try a solo crossing, but that's dangerous. It's dangerous to attempt to cross a border without any money, without any documents, by yourself, and they are completely dependent in every way on their employer. Okay. It starts with a seemingly harmless text message. Hi, Kira. I'm hoping to make an appointment to get my dog Marvin groomed. Please let me know when. Responder. I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. The sender continues to chat, gaining the recipient's trust until they hand over money. We already know what pig butchering is, so we're going to skip this part. We already learned this. Yeah, so they think they're getting a good job with a good salary. So these are the victims, the human trafficking victims who are perpetrating the scam. They find themselves sitting in front of a computer looking at training materials on how to scam people online and contact them and try to get into conversations with them to weed them out of their life savings. We know what this is. The Canadian Centre to End Human Trafficking website describes the business of human trafficking as low risk / high reward. They often use catchy language in job advertisements. They are quick to adapt their business model or tactics to suit their needs and increase their profits. For his piece in ProPublica, this person spoke with 30 victims in Canada and other countries, all of whom who have lost money to such scams. The RCMP, like any serious and organized fraud, the RCMP continues to assess reported cases and work with its international and domestic counterparts to combat romance scams. So this is all just general human trafficking statistics. Okay. I thought there was more info on statistics related to pig butchering. So my apologies. So I have one other article to look at, I think. Yes. I have one other article to look at and then we can be done. I just wanted some stats on... Sorry. I shouldn't be sniffing into the microphone. Jeez. I wanted some stats like from a specific location related to pig butchering. I'm struggling. Sorry, friends. Prosecutors in Brooklyn seized nearly 24 web domains associated with a scheme known as pig butchering. Brooklyn-based victims were scammed out of at least $5 million after they were convinced to invest in cryptocurrency by someone they met through a random text message, a dating site, or a WhatsApp group. The investments appeared to show tremendous returns, but we already learned when they tried to withdraw their money, they were blocked from their accounts. Brooklyn DA's office says it seized coinformat.com and 20 other active associated domains in connection with the investigation into the scheme. 3 virtual servers hosting these sites have also been seized. It's crazy. There's a whole ecosystem of fraudulent cryptocurrency servers and websites that all work together to scam people. Like Charlie said, we should just trust no one. Just trust no one. Trust nothing we see online because everything is a scam. And anything could be a scam. Makes me sad. And I'm coughing now. Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez said, quote, "My office's strategy to disrupt these scams by seizing and shutting down their online infrastructure and to educate the public about ways to avoid becoming a victim. Awareness and education are the first and best lines of defenses against these prolific scams. Investment returns that seem too good to be true are always almost just that, fake." The U.S. Department of Justice Department last year announced it seized virtual currency worth an estimated $112 million linked to pig butchering scams. So this was 2024. In 2023, the Justice Department seized virtual currency worth that much money connected to pig butchering scams. I think that just shows you the breadth of these scams, how much money is lost in these scams, and it seems to be supported by victims of human trafficking who experience forced labor, who experience extreme violence, physical, psychological violence when they do not meet their quotas of the number of people they scam out of their money. Because it's easier for us just to say, fuck the scammers. It's like, well, no, because the scammers are also victims. Fuck the people who are trafficking people and forcing them to perpetuate these scams. Fuck the traffickers. Oh, my nose is running. Let me put myself on mute and I can, just for a second. I struggle with these videos sometimes because I want to show different news articles and different pieces of info, but oftentimes, obviously, they're repeating what the scam is. Right, like we already learned what a pig butchering scam is. So I'm trying to just like skip over the parts that we already read. Yeah, 112 million is just what they seized. I imagine that's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, great point. The victims in the Brooklyn investigation included a 51-year-old woman who lost $23,000 after she was added to online chat groups discussing cryptocurrency investments, according to prosecutors. She downloaded an app from Coin Format, made 8 deposits, believed her investment grew to nearly $400,000. Can you imagine the excitement? You think that it's a legitimate opportunity. You didn't put in that much money, and then $400K? That's life-changing money, right? That's horrible that you think you made that much money, then you try to withdraw it and you can't. When she tried to withdraw her initial investment, she was told by chat administrators that she had to pay taxes. What do you mean? When she complained, she was blocked from the chat and her money disappeared. Thankfully, she only lost $23,000, not hundreds of thousands of dollars, but that is still potentially life-ruining for a lot of people. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have financial stability, that could ruin someone's life. But I do think she was lucky in this situation. Prosecutors said her investment moved through multiple crypto addresses before it was deposited into an account at a foreign exchange and cashed out by someone possibly in China. How are you supposed to track this? How are you supposed to know who cashed out her money in a whole ass other country? The DA's office shared several warning signs. We already know this. Authorities warn people not to trust crypto investment opportunities that seem too good to be true. We already know that. This makes me sad, man. Those in New York can check whether a cryptocurrency exchange is licensed to operate in the state. Perfect. By going to the Department of Financial Services website or calling the department's hotline at blah. People who believe they may have been victims are urged to contact their local FBI field office. Okay, so that's all. Oh, my face is so big. It's like, hello. That's all I have. This was fun learning about a new to our channel scam, although it's new to us. Charlie said earlier, and I completely agree, it is very similar to the romance scams, to the cryptocurrency investment scams. It's similar. You meet someone in some way, they show interest in you, you form a friendship, they encourage you to invest in something or to send them money. You send them money, and at some point they cut off contact with you. We also learned that this has horrendous, awful impacts on people's mental well-being, their relationships with their spouse, with their financial well-being. They declare bankruptcy, they lose their homes. It's just terrible. We also learned that these scams are perpetuated by human trafficking victims who are tricked into going into another country through promises of a secure, well-paid job. and then they are forced to work. They have violence committed against them if they don't meet their quotas. They have no freedom of movement. Yes, they could try to cross borders independently with no money or documents, but that's highly dangerous, and they're stuck in a horrendous situation. And my point of bringing that in is that it's not just fuck the scammers, it's fuck the traffickers. That's all I have. Yeah, we'll never run out of material, right? The MLM, so I'm like flinging shit around. The MLM stuff, you'll never run out of material for that because people are acting outrageous recently because of all of the companies going to affiliate, and then there's scam activities everywhere. How are we supposed to know what to trust online? We think we made a friend, but we didn't. We think that we're donating to a worthwhile charity, but we're not because it's fake. How are we supposed to know what's true online and what's not true online? It just makes me frustrated. My next video, we're going to do another Beach Boss influencer video, and it is their reaction to everything that's been happening in the industry lately. And wonder, are they going to try to pitch their services to people who are scared about the state of the MLM industry? Probably. They are. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, they are. All of these MLM coaches and distributors are pitching their company. They're pitching their coaching opportunity. No, some of them just less obvious than others. Some are like, you gotta join me. Others do it more covertly. Some others do it more covertly. You're welcome, Mr. Rangelab, and you're welcome, Charlie. Thank you so much for watching me today. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all on Wednesday.